Okay, we're back. How I ended the last video, some people felt like it was cut off by mistake and yet. Story-wise though, what has to happen? No, that was intentional. But we're here, and we're gonna somewhat continue that video. Here's the last 30 seconds. What's gonna happen next is Kuma's gonna fail. I know. A lot of us would like for Kuma to be successful. We would love for Kuma to land this amazing hit on Saturn and knock him out. Get the out of here! And all those years, decades, generations of Buccaneers can celebrate in hell together and enjoy. Wait, did I say hell? I mean, celebrate together and enjoy the death of Saturn. And we can just leave Egghead on the sunny and everything is okay. The Egghead incident is wrapped up. Sorry, boys and girls, that's not how it's gonna go because that just doesn't make sense. Now, quick tangent, I've thought about something. I thought about Kizaru giving Luffy food. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I know admirals compromise themselves in certain situations because it's something that they believe in, but I'm willing to say Kizaru helped someone get the food as opposed to getting the food himself. That's where I landed after sleeping on it because just Kizaru going and picking out stuff or just Uber eating, it just didn't sit right with me, okay? It didn't sit right. So I'm just gonna say Kizaru helped someone, saw someone getting the food and just let them go. I'm gonna say that's what he did. Now, back to Kuma. He's coming in. One thing we also need to specify, this is Kuma. This is not a pacifista. This is not a robot. The man that is launching this attack is 1000% Bartholomew Kuma. The embers of his soul, of his spirit still exist. How do I know? Well, this man was using Haki, and Haki is an embodiment of will. And all those years of pent-up rage for Saturn is going into this fist, but it still won't be enough. But here's why. Oda doesn't do that. Typically, Oda does not like giving the last hits to these major antagonists to anyone other than Luffy. It just doesn't really happen. The last time a major antagonist got defeated by someone other than Luffy, I don't know actually. Go back, even in Dressrosa, I thought Law should have gotten the last hit. How Doflamingo was violating Law all his life, I thought Oda had given Law the last hit. Actually, Oda just had Law's arm taken off. He got shot with lead bullets. Dofi put him in the high chair like a baby, had a whole lecture like he was in high school. All this happened, but Law did not get the last hit. He got a hit in regards to Gamma Knife to help weaken Dofi, but the last hit, that's reserved for Monkey D. So as much as I would like it, this is a Monkey D thing. Now, one thing we also have to go back and look at is exactly how this is going to play out. Kuma's launching this attack. It looks like it's about to hit, probably will connect, won't have the impact that people expect it to. I remember I made a video earlier in the year, and it was Luffy, Garp, and Dragon all launching a similar attack, right? Luffy using his attack somewhat like Honesty Impact, using his Conqueror's Haki attack, and Dragon doing the same thing. Funny enough, Kuma is the one launching an attack similar to Garp and Luffy. You can't make this up. So now Kuma's going in for the attack. It lands, but it doesn't have the effect that you think. I want it to land, but I can see it not landing too. I can see Saturn stopping it because the last time when Bonney stabbed him, he said, if I didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't happen. So with this attack, maybe it's strong enough with Haki and the paw fruit. Maybe it's something that Kuma or Saturn realizes, I probably shouldn't take it. Then he stops it because I'm starting to think with the naked eye, you can't see, but I think Saturn has a bunch of Haki webs since he's a spider demon thing. And that's why people can't move. Like Doflamingo. Remember when Doflamingo was first introduced? Doflamingo was freezing people or sticking people where we didn't realize what was happening. And then it's like, oh, he's using string. I think it's a similar way where Saturn has spider webs. You can't move because you can't see these webs. It must be a specific technique. I'm not sure if Oda introduces Gyo in One Piece. If you watch Hunter x Hunter, you understand what I'm saying. If not, you're pretty lost right now. And that's going to be my recommendation, to just go watch Hunter x Hunter because it's goated. He might just stop him. We're going to present two scenarios. One if he lands, one if he doesn't. Let's start with if he lands. If he lands this hit, Saturn's going to take it and he's somewhat going to brush it off, and then Kuma is going to get packed up. I'm talking about sent flying by one of those claws, and then Bonney's going to run over there to take care of him because he's going to be on his last leg. My bad. Akainu made sure of that. He's already on his last leg, so he's going to be on his last hip. I don't know, but he does not have much left. The embers of Kuma is burning. He has just enough to save Bonney. This is pure instinct. Now, I was thinking about this the other day being yesterday actually, and just the will to save, the will to move, the will to just save others. And it's happened frequently in One Piece, actually. Think about it. The Merry, right? Instinct. It literally came alive to save the Straw Hats. Law. He doesn't know why he saved Luffy. He just felt like he had to. These things happen time and time and time again, where people move on instinct just to save people. Kuma is moving on instinct to save his daughter. Now, the instinct kicked in way back when he went to marry Joa, then he went to Egghead. But what's left of Kuma is in there. Now, somebody posed a question, and I'd like you guys to brainstorm with me because I didn't necessarily have an answer, but I think it could have some credence to it. This is by my guy, Wiza. He did ask me a question on Twitter and gave me something to consider. He said, if the heartbeat of Gear 5 can bring back the conscience of the ancient robot, why can't it do the same for Kuma? The setup is there. I didn't have an answer in the moment, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I still don't now. The heartbeat of Gear 5 brought back the conscience of the ancient robot. Can it do the same for Kuma? Can just the heartbeat bring it back? Well, we have to explore Vegapunk at that point. Did Vegapunk install somewhat a chip or something just like the robot, whereas it could be powered by Gear 5? That would be pretty dope, because if that's the case, that is definitely a possibility that Kuma comes back in the same vein as the ancient robot. Now, it's hard to see it happening because we still don't know exactly what's going on with this robot. It's gonna play a part, but ultimately, I'm gonna tell you guys what I would like, and then I'll tell you guys what's gonna happen. I would like for Kuma to die. His backstory is more impactful. Bonney's future then looks a bit brighter because she doesn't have her dad to look after her. Then another theory I have in place does thrive or could thrive. And the ancient robot, that's anybody's guess. More than likely, Gear 5, once Luffy comes back, is going to bring it back. Saturn is going to see all this. And this is the eradication of Saturn. I don't think he dies, but one of the Gorosei is going down. And it's not Sanji's dad. It is Saturn. We need some retribution. We need some vindication. We need some revenge. And that is in the form of Saturn. Now, once Kuma gets knocked away, right? This is if he gets knocked away. Bonney goes over there, Saturn goes in for the last hit, and guess who steps in the way and stops Saturn's hit? No, not Kizaru. Luffy does. He's eating food. He will be back shortly, but this covers two things. One, Kuma then sees Nika. Nika that he's believed in all his life. The dance that his dad was doing before he got clapped. The dance that him, Kizaru, Sentomaru, Vegapunk, that they were all doing around the campfire happens right in front of him at death's door, and everything that he believes in just comes alive because everything was true. Clap was not wrong. Clap did not get clapped for no reason. Nika exists, and Kuma can then die peacefully with a true smile on his face, knowing that everything that he believed in, his life's work, his life's dedication, him being a clergyman, everything that he did was justified for this moment. So that's one. Two, Bonney. Bonnie's Nika-ish powers is weakened. Bonnie's Nika-ish powers are weakening. Why? Because her dad is dead. But if Kuma just came back to save her, and then right after that, she sees Gear 5 Nika dancing in the sky, legs wiggling, arms shaking, running on air, doing the dance, the Dougie, the moonwalk. The Nika-ish powers that she has, they're gonna grow tenfold. Now, people are presenting another logical explanation saying, well, shouldn't the Nika-ish powers that Bonney have just completely wither away? Because the possibility of her being Nika then also dies. This presents an interesting wrinkle in regards to Bonnie's fruit, because yes, I think that could also happen. However, how Oda's presenting this is that the closer to a future that you think is possible, then you can replicate the powers. Because we were previously thinking that Bonnie's pulling from a future that could possibly exist. I don't know if that's actually the case anymore. Bonnie's fruit is one of the more complex ones. I don't want to say it's completely plot driven, but I think it could be malleable based on what Oda wants the story to go, or where he wants the story to go, how he wants it to play out. Either way, I think we could see a combined attack from Luffy and Bonney on Saturn, completely putting him down in this arc, at least, for good. I don't hate Saturn as a character because he's really good at being a villain, but I hate him as a person in the One Piece story. He is terrible. He has single-handedly brought pain and suffering on Kuma and his family, experimenting on Kuma experimenting on Kuma's wife, or lady in Ginny, experimenting on Kuma's daughter. He has single-handedly been the one responsible for all this pain. He has to feel it. He has to. Oda cannot let him get out of this arc without feeling some pain. There's also another wrinkle to factor in. Dragon is on the way. Now, people are looking at it saying, well, we just saw Dragon talking last chapter. He's still there. No, based on this setup, Oda is showing us what happened right after Kuma left. Kuma's left hours ago. Now, typically Kuma's, I believe, travels for 3 days. I guess things were altered based on just the events that's going on. It would not make sense if hours later, because Kuma went to marriage. Well, he went to, it would not make sense if Dragon is just having this conversation. This conversation happened prior. And now Dragon, he is trying to figure out where Kuma went so he can go there himself. Here's the tough part. Dragon goes to Egghead. Then what? He could finally declare war on the world government by also helping taking care of Saturn, but also we have a moment that people were somewhat putting above Luffy and Shanks meeting, which I don't agree, saying Dragon finally gets to meet Luffy. This is going to be cut off because this is not the time, I think, for Dragon and Luffy to meet. I think Oda makes it so that Dragon is there, but maybe Luffy is not conscious, but that could present an issue if Luffy's the one to take down Saturn, but it has to be the Egghead incident. What's big enough to make this an incident, but to also have the world government retain some of their danger going into the final saga? Dragon is coming. I know, we've been saying that since the Reverie, right? Dragon is going to be at the Reverie. Dragon is going to be at Dressrosa. Some of those places were ridiculous. I think now it makes the most sense for Dragon to be here. Shaka was talking about Dragon at the beginning of the arc. Shaka is now dead. We saw Dragon in the flashback with Vegapunk. You know, everything that's going on in Egghead. It makes perfect sense, in my opinion, for Dragon to be here at the culmination of Kuma's death. Now, does Kuma actually die? When does a man die? I mean, you tell me. Kuma was supposed to be dead years ago. I mean, months ago, at least. He is here using haki. That man isn't dead. The embers of Kuma is still burning strong within him. And my boy Wiza, I really hope that the heartbeat of Gear 5 can bring him back. Well, that's a lie, though, because I want him to die. I want that flashback to remain impactful and meaningful. I want that death, that happy 10th birthday, I want that to live within me forever. But can it? Can it, though? Would I rather that happen? Because, let you guys in on a little secret. This is an idea I had about Kuma in the future with Bonney. Now, I don't think you can retain everything, because I do think some of Kuma's memories are still in Punk Records. So let's say Kuma, this body goes. Could Vegapunk move some of Kuma's memories into S-Bear, and then S-Bear and Bonney travel to all those places that her and Kuma was supposed to travel? But it's Kuma's sentience, but in S-Bear's body. And in that instance, Vegapunk has just created maybe the strongest being to ever walk the earth. Because 1, you have the will to use haki. 2, you have the pawpaw fruit. 3, you have Lunarian DNA. 4, you have Buccaneer DNA. Vegapunk would have truly created the most powerful being in existence. And I'm not gonna lie, I would not trust that power in no one else's hands other than the one and only Kuma, the benevolent Kuma. This man is everything everyone should aspire to be. And so if that happens, he has to travel around with his daughter again, because what about the weight of his soul? Is that just strictly in his memories? Vegapunk talked about the research of more than likely Dr. Hogback in Egghead. Well, not in Egghead, but since we've been in Egghead, I don't know. That could be impactful. Guys, give me your thoughts. What do you think happens? This is Gear 5's time. That's just what Oda does, but I can't wait to see Kuma seeing Gear 5 in action and just the tears streaming down, thinking of his dad, thinking of his mom, thinking of Bonney, Ginny, Dragon, Ivankov, the people from Sorbet Kingdom. Kuma's had a difficult life. I just hope at the end of it, he finds some happiness.